say a few words, and we're going to hand off right now to our mayor of Stafford. Thank you.
First of all, I want to thank the invitation. I've always revered my brotherhood with my Christian brothers. I think very kind of called kind of at the last minute, but I made everything, every effort to get here. Some of you already know me, and all I got to say is that I renewed my vows to my community, my country. And one of the things that I take very dear are those vows, God and country. I took an oath to protect the Constitution of this United States. And the first time that I came here was to protect your rights of assembly. I don't follow, I lead. I don't follow what I'm told, I lead. The governor and the judge of this county wanted to shut this church down. I stood up to them, and I made them accountable for where the actions were at. And the ramifications will be coming down the road to them. I stand for the people, not other politicians. With that, I appreciate the invitation. I look forward for the presentation of this that we're going to be looking at. And feel free to talk to me. I'm pretty easy to talk to. So I promise to keep it sort of a short speech for this outreach to you. But again, I appreciate your candor and following my leadership in this community. I really appreciate the peace that's even prayed for. And that means a lot to me. That really does. Because that shows me that we're all brothers and sisters. And at the end of the day, I've been dubbed so that names in this community. I'm a constitutionalist, and I'm a patriot.
Amen.
As I was listening to that message, I thought to myself, could you imagine somebody in Washington giving that speech?
No.
Not a single one. Not a single one. What a shame. What a shame. Even our governor and our lieutenant governor did not hear those words. We need stronger leadership. Everyone get involved. All right, well, as you know, our star is here. But I'm going to say, I'll take about 10 minutes to kind of set it up for her, if you don't mind. Is that okay? Yeah. So, all the way back a year ago, we had this message being sent out that was a little confusing, but we knew something was coming. So doctors like Dr. Gold and myself, we got real excited to help. We wanted to get involved. I was in drug development. She was in the ER in the front lines. And we were real excited. February, March. And we started collaborating. Other doctors we've always been a collaborative group. Doctors have always, we don't call the CDC, the FDA, the NIH, no offense, but we call other doctors. So we were talking to doctors around the world. We were talking to doctors in Italy and Korea, China. And we were getting information that was interesting. We knew that people were going into ICUs, they were getting on vents and ECMO, and we weren't seeing a lot of young kids getting sick at all. It's all the elderly patients. So we had pretty good information all the way back in March of where the disease was going. And interesting, what was the message out of Washington? The message was it's going to kill everybody. Everybody's going to be equally affected, which is a guy named Neil Ferguson. He's from England. He's never predicted any kind of pandemic, and they use his model. He's been wrong like 7 times in the past. So he was the guy that they decided to base all these lockdowns, all this masks, all these types of things we're doing. Of course, as you guys may not know, lockdowns were a huge non-success. We've never locked down healthy people, ever. And guess what happened? A large study was published March 5th. 80 regions of the world, lockdowns had no effects on deaths. Hello? So in general, what we're seeing over and over is we're seeing messaging coming out that's not true, right? And I tried to go down some of the list of things. Masks work. Well, last year, the only randomized controlled trial, and you won't hear this, you only hear it from doctors maybe, but not actually scientists. They won't say this because they know better. If you worked, I worked 11 years in a tissue culture lab, I did tumor virus work, we'd never wear a mask for a virus. It doesn't work. I got on the plane the other day and I told them, they said, you need your mask. I said, I've got my cowboy boots on. Well, where's your mask? I don't need it. I got these work. And I go, they work just as well as a mask against the viruses. So that didn't go over too well. But and as we talked through the whole year, we kept hearing that we needed to do contagion control, that we needed to wait in our houses, that we needed to wait for a vaccine. And no talk about early treatment. And that's how Dr. Gold and I met. We could not believe that we were not going to treat patients. And I think what you find is the people who are telling people to do that, they don't look people in the eye. And if you're a doctor and you're looking people in the eye and tell them you can't do anything, let me tell you, I'm getting chills down my spine just now just thinking about that. Yeah. It's not right. It's hypocrisy. So there's so many drugs that work against this disease. I had by March already found 10, and that might work. And as it turned out, 8 of the 10 have worked quite well. I won't name them, just know early treatment, it works. Early treatment works. Okay? Just how well it works. It looks like in some of the data sets we have, some with over some in California in a community with massive death. One person did 5,000 patients and had a 98% reduction in death from early treatment. And overall, we've estimated probably somewhere between 85 to 90% reduction in death. So what you see is that 500,000 should have been under 100,000. That's a tragedy. That's a true tragedy. And if we had just adopted early treatment, and that's one of the things that's how I met Dr. Gold mainly, is she was a pioneer. She was so forceful. She's so organized. She was a true American hero. And with her help, we were able to get into the White House. We were able to get into the Capitol building. We were able to get into all these places to talk to people where the messages were coming out, the CDC. We were able to talk to all these people. And we just couldn't get this kind of message come forward. They wanted us to hide in our houses. They wanted to suppress information. All the way back when we went into the White House in June, and I spoke to one of the people, and I took him aside and I said, hey, ivermectin really works also in case you want to think about that. And he said, where's the data? I said, well, unfortunately, there's a doctor that has the data, but no one will publish his data. So it was a collaborative effort to suppress information. I guess you guys know about the fabricated Lancet study. You know about that? Harvard docs. 2 Harvard docs that never saw a single COVID patient put together a study. Why were they doing it? They were CD docs. Somebody might ask me about me being an ophthalmologist, but at least I did drug design. So, basically they did no work, and they put a fabricated study out there which killed hydroxychloroquine right in its tracks. So this is the kind of collaborative, structured thing that's happened throughout this whole pandemic. And so our regulatory agencies, our CDC, our FDA, our NIH, are captured by the very organizations they're supposed to be regulating. They are captured by those organizations. They don't have autonomy. They are told what to do. And so we're going to get a lot of misinformation from them. And then a few final thoughts. Just for you guys to know, it's a biphasic disease. That means there's 2 parts: virus the first week, inflammation the second week. And we recognized that a long time ago. I always tell people, if you do nothing against the virus, if you just stop the inflammatory phase, you're going to save lives. And I would say, I don't need hydroxychloroquine or ivermectin or remdesivir. I don't need monoclonal antibodies. None of those things to save most of the people if I just concentrate on the inflammation. Steroids, Singulair, all the drugs we use for inflammation can help blunt that cytokine storm. Vitamin D. If you're not on vitamin D and you have low levels, you're at super high risk for a cytokine storm. Anybody in here, get your vitamin D levels checked. All my patients know I've been talking about it for 26 years. If anybody in here, I'm a broken record on that for like the last 2 decades. The other thing, just kind of as we move forward, is does everybody need an experimental vaccine? Does anybody believe that? That we all need?
No.
How can a pregnant person need an experimental vaccine? Be clear, come on. Children who have no signal of benefit, who have no risk from the disease, under age 16, 0.1. Any kid in here, 0.1 per 100,000. You know what that means? 1 in a million. 1 in a million chance of dying if you have no comorbidities, if you're at that age. Are they spreading the disease? No. The answer is no. 5 major studies, all done, about 10 million people. I think two kids spread it to an adult. Kids are a break against the disease. They tear cars into car parts. They immediately take a virus and tear it into viral particles. Kids can turn cars into car parts, like that. And then one of the things, I don't know if you guys have seen this lately, just this is my last finishing thing. Is the virus natural?
No.
So imagine, if you will, Bambi coming out with claws and big long teeth. That's coronavirus. Coronavirus is Bambi. SARS-CoV-2 is Bambi that has sharp teeth like a lion and claws like a lion. That's not natural. Okay? And the biggest thing that's happened this last week is they've revealed that they've taken the Zika virus and they're manipulating that down in Galveston, Texas. Everybody know that?
Yes, lab, yep.
Very good. And so what we call that is gain of function. And so what they do is they'll take the virus, manipulate it, and either make it weaker or stronger, so it could be change of function. And what they did was they took this virus and they there are things on it that just don't make sense. There's a prion-like particle. There's a furin-like cleavage protein, it's like a super antigen that's, like big, mashy, scary teeth. And then there's this HIV fragment on there. There's all these things that just don't make sense. It's not natural. And now the scientists of the world have written a letter. Now that Fauci got called out by Rand Paul, look, I have something even better for you. The person who's going to go after them, the person who's going to make the most waves, is here with us today. And I want to welcome to the podium Dr. Simone Gold.